In the meantime, do pull-ups off a carousel or
I
what was it?
spit all my water like all over all the technology.
Oh my word!
Oh my God.
What is love?
What is
Baby.
love?
Baby,
Baby,
don't
don't
hurt
hurt
me.
me.
Don't hurt me no more.
What is love? Love,
Bam,
love.
bam,
Baby,
bam,
don't
bam,
hurt
bam,
me.
Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me.
Don't hurt me.
No more.
It's a night at the Roxbury.
Steve, suck a dick.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I lied.
Touch the butt.
The Force will be with you, always. Why is the rum always gone? Go ahead. Make my day.
Who are you?
Will.
What do you want with me? Why are you here?
Michael.
Why
Michael.
is your hand
Michael,
down my pants?
We're trying to do a podcast.
Why am
Michael.
I semi-erect?
Michael, we're trying to do a podcast.
I'm almost there.
Stay with me, Michael. Stay with me.
Coming. Was I not supposed to come? No? Just because I have dementia doesn't mean I can't orgasm, Steve. If that's your real name. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Every Film in the Book. We did a sappy love story, if you couldn't tell by the intro. It's called Love.
The Notebook. The Book of Notes. Which, do you understand, Steve, now why it's called The Notebook?
Is it because she wrote a notebook?
She wrote a
Yeah.
notebook.
And the whole time you thought he wrote it because he was the one writing letters, but she thought she'd write him one final
No.
letter.
You know,
Yeah, that warmed your heart, didn't it, you cold bitch?
listen, I went 31 years of my life without seeing the notebook. And I got to be honest, it surprised me. It was a good story.
It's a great
was a
story.
good
It's
story.
one of my favorite
You
love
weren't
stories.
wrong. It was a good story.
Told you.
However,
Told you.
I could still go the rest of my life without seeing this again, I think.
Okay, so you can leave. Danielle and I will finish
So,
this.
yeah, Steve and I both have never seen this movie until we just watched it about 3 hours ago. And, yeah, I don't know how we've gone so long without seeing it because it was the biggest movie.
The love movie.
It was the only love movie
This-
that everyone talked
This
about.
was the movie my group of friends in high school were like, yo, did your girl make you watch The Notebook yet? And I was like, no, I was dating a normal person. And they were like, no, man, you got to watch The Notebook. But I didn't realize this movie will get you laid. I didn't know that.
Steve,
Oh,
you
yeah.
were not dating anybody normal.
Yeah.
No, I
first
was
of all,
not.
stretch of the truth. A normal girl makes you watch it to get her in the mood, and then she lets you do stuff.
Well, see, I
a
didn't
great
know that as a immature teen.
Also, immature teen, figured it out. Figured it out pretty well.
Yeah, but Canadian high schools are different than American high schools. You
for the
break
sake
out the
of-
maple syrup and all of a sudden it's a fucking orgy.
Now you're giving away the secrets of my homeland, Steve.
Sorry, I don't mean to reveal Canada's secrets.
No maple trees.
Sorry.
No maple trees were harmed in the filming of this episode.
Well, we kind of figured we would just go through the movie and talk about the things that we liked and didn't like. Obviously, we don't need to go through the whole story.
like-
Everybody knows The Notebook except
Danielle
for us, okay?
and I
Right?
were the only people on this planet who have not seen this
And
movie up until today.
Contrary to my personality, how I behave, love stories are my favorite, and this is a great one,
Who would have known?
right?
Who would have
Michael,
thought?
would you say this is your top 3 of your love movies? Because I haven't seen many of these love movies, so I want to know
so-
how it compares.
This is a very good story
Yes.
because it shows her struggle with trying to live up to, most of the time it's the guy trying to live up to some standards that have been set by whatever.
Right,
But this
right.
is it's her physical struggle between the two guys, and I like it because it shows how much her parents affected her decision making and how long it took for her to break that cycle.
Right, right.
So that hits home pretty good because it's like,
So
you got to
does
learn to
that-
be yourself.
Right, right.
Also, you have to do what you think is best for you. And that's why, like, at the end of the movie, it's like, stop thinking about what I want. Stop thinking about what he wants. Stop thinking about what your parents want. What do you want? And
Yeah.
that's good because you have to be an individual.
You got to know what you want out of life.
So because it touches on a couple of those things, it's definitely in the top 3. And then,
because I know
like,
we did Eat, Pray, Love. Does that kind of fall
Pray,
in
Love
this?
is a much different story.
Okay.
But it is, again, I think I just like movies about women finding themselves. I think I
He
just
can
like,
really relate.
I can
to
relate
them.
to it. It's like you got to be your own girl.
Michael has probably said this before, but he grew up with sisters.
Yeah. So
So
the women finding themselves without a man or in spite of a man. I like those kind of stories because
Okay.
there's a lot of
No, I
stories
like
that are
that.
like, I bothered her until she went out with me, and then I didn't let her see another man for 10 years, so she fell in love. It's like, well, no, you kept her in the woods for 10 years. It's like she had to survive. So there's a lot of that stuff in the love movies, and frankly, nobody gives a shit about the guy in a love movie. So make him suffer and make her grow, and then they fall. It's great.
I mean, how could you not give a shit about Ryan Gosling? Because damn.
Right?
I mean, he
'Cause
saved
damn.
Jazz.
He saved Jazz. He's been in other movies.
He was
Yeah.
also in other movies.
Other
yes.
movies. Those
I
are all
remember
good.
him in that other movie. It was a good movie.
the
The
other
Barbie
guys.
movie.
Yeah, he was
a
in the
detective.
other guys.
So he has a daughter.
Yeah.
So you know he's going to be a good dad.
Yeah,
Mhm.
You
he
know
already
can
raised
dance.
a kid.
He saved Jazz. He
Oh my
can
god.
tickle the ivories. You
He's-
know what
He
I'm saying?
is Ken enough.
He's the perfect man.
He's
Yeah.
very smooth.
Very smooth
well
down
shaped.
there.
From
Down there. Had to go
right from the get go, he has that charm, and you know that he's gonna win her over.
Nobody has ever climbed a Ferris wheel for me, so I feel like I've like, what have I
I'm
been
missing out.
Is it just something Southern guys do? Because like, I'll go find a Southern guy.
No, you've got to do.
Somebody's got to climb a freaking Ferris wheel for me.
You've got to do what the love demands.
Yeah, it's like
What
that
type of love is it? It's that crazy, stupid
but
that
love.
hold on.
chemistry that can't be.
But let me
explained.
ask this: when does it become creepy?
When
At
she-
what point does it become creepy?
when she says, "I said no," and starts running away.
And he
she's-
threatens suicide.
Right, that's fine. It's fine. It's all.
unless
It's
she
all
dates
fine.
him.
If she's audibly yelling to make other people hear, it's time to leave.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean,
Other
other
than
people
that,
heard.
everything's fair game.
Everything's fair
and
game
it
in
was
love and war.
1950. No, it was
40.
It was
40
1940.
1940.
So there was a lot more things allowed back then. One of those is he never did pay for that Ferris wheel ride.
He never did.
Just saying, you get arrested for that now.
Mm.
But we didn't see how he got down.
Yeah, it just
Off
kind
the
of
Ferris
cut.
wheel.
That was
Yeah.
logistics for the filmmaking.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair. I wouldn't.
Yeah,
I
They'd
wouldn't
have to
wanna-
hire a stunt guy to
yeah. They didn't.
fall
They
off
didn't want to
of a
hire
Ferris
stunt
wheel.
guys. Even in the death scene of his best friend in war, they didn't show any blood. He was just covered up in snow. No, he's dead.
Yeah, was this PG-13
This,
Oh, yeah.
this
Oh, yeah.
must have been
or was
PG-13.
it like PG?
No, it was specifically marketed to me at my age group,
Yeah.
and it worked. Thanks, Nicholas Sparks. What up? What it do, baby?
Thanks,
Shout out to my boy
dude.
Nick.
My boy Nick. Added a little
Lost
grease
my
to the
virginity 'cause of that
a little
guy.
grease to the system there. Everybody liked it.
But I mean, in all honesty, it's one of those movies that's just meant to make you.
Horny.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry. I had to come
No,
out
that's-
and say it.
that's exactly-
Somebody had to say it.
that's kind of what romance movies are. Now, this one did have a good story.
I was honestly surprised. I will say that. I was honestly surprised. I like this more than Eat, Pray, Love. This
Oh,
one actually
100%.
told a story that I thought was worth telling.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of like something to learn. You
Yeah.
know,
Right.
There's a little substance, not just I was walking down the street and there was a hot guy.
And I just had to destroy my life for him.
But then I realized I had to
pretty
go to
much.
Europe
Yeah.
I'm going to eat pasta with Javier Bardem.
to find myself. If you haven't seen our episode on Eat, Pray, Love, go
Right?
watch it.
Self-promotion.
Self-plug. There's
love
Javier Bardem's in a movie where he gets Scarlett Johansson, some other girl, to come away to his island with him
Yes.
on his boat or whatever. It just reminded me of that scene. It's like, what are we gonna do? We're gonna eat good food. We're gonna talk.
We're going
Hopefully,
to make love.
hopefully we're gonna make love. With who?
Everyone.
The three of us.
All of us.
Whoever's on the boat, get the captain down here. I'm wearing the hat. I'm wearing the hat.
Oh my God.
But this is a classic.
No,
Just,
but
it's a good love story that has a little meat to it that you can see yourself in parts of it, but it's so grand with the ending of the movie. You go, oh my word, that's about as big as you can get.
I will say, if you haven't seen this, I don't know why you haven't. I mean, I thought, again, we're the only people on the planet.
Everyone's seen this movie.
If you do watch the trailer for this before you watch it, the movie is already spoiled for you. Because I saw the trailer and I was like, oh, okay, so this happens, then so
This
it's
was
like, you get it.
2000s when they started ruining movies with the trailer.
Yeah.
They gave you just a little
The
too
90s,
much.
the
And
90s didn't do that.
And just to go on a little tangent here, why are we doing that? It's so frustrating. But anyway, after if you see that, you kind of can piece together. But I don't think it ruins the movie. Like knowing what's going to happen,
you still have to feel it.
Yeah, there's something about absorbing it where you're kind of like, all right, like I can kind of buy into this. And then like when you see older people still trying to rekindle that love, you almost feel for them because you know you're about to die, and you're just kind of like, this is your one hope.
And I like that it's such a good story being told by the end of the story. Any type of movie that's narrated, it normally starts like it starts at the start, right? But this is like, no, they're at the end of this story, and we get to catch up to them.
Right.
It's not we're seeing it as it happens.
It's like we're
learning.
Rachel McAdams, and we're like learning the story along with her.
Because every time he read it, she came back to it.
I came back to the story.
It's like I've known my whole life and I've just now remembered.
Right?
Because of the story.
It's all in the story.
How much time do we have?
But yeah, no, I did feel, very bad for old Ryan Gosling. First of all, that's what Ryan Gosling
That's
looks
what
like
he turns into.
It is funny. The casting choice is not the greatest.
I was expecting him to still have a six pack when he's like 87.
Right, he could have been a little thinner.
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, it is like a very sweet, like, oh, he's just trying to take care of his
and
wife.
like that's the thing that pulled on my heartstring was him just trying.
Just one
Yeah.
string.
I had one string and he was pulling on it.
give it a
But
little
that's,
touch.
that's the thing. Like you feel so bad for people at the end of their lives trying to relive their past life.
But for a second, they do.
Yeah.
And they do.
And they give it
and
to
it's
you.
great.
And they give it to you.
And they give
then
you that
have to
little
watch
dance
them-
with the
Yeah.
And you have to watch them die.
Yeah. So it's like
Yes, they're dead.
like when you see them as Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams, I hate them. But when you see them as like the older people, I'm
after 40, 50 years, you
Yeah.
go, gee whiz, they made it work the whole time.
yes,
Yeah.
like
and they
all
don't
the
give you anything between.
Nope.
Yeah, no. But like all the fights, all the fucking like crossroads that have entered their
All the
path.
fucking.
All the fucking.
They had like 3 kids.
James Marsden. Like,
How do you pass that up, ladies and gentlemen?
I'm
How do you
just
pass
saying,
that up? I'd have passed it up in a heartbeat. True love always prevails.
yeah, it's just one of
I
those.
think the thing that pulled on my heartstrings the most was when his kids tried to get him to leave, and he said, "No, this is where she is. This is my home now. She is my home." And I was
Right.
like, man.
Yeah.
It's like,
It's like that's a little. Fuck.
It's like,
That hurts.
I will
I
say
have trouble keeping friends, let alone relationships.
Yeah, I don't really cry at movies much at all. I think I've only cried at a movie maybe once.
I cried at Avengers Endgame.
No one cares, Steve.
Okay,
Continue, Danielle.
cool.
Thank you.
I cried at Marley and Me because my dog was actually dying around that time.
Oh,
and it was
that's
very
rough.
sad.
Oh, that's hard.
So that was the only time I actually cried at a movie.
Yeah.
So I don't usually
No,
cry.
that's hard.
But like I can feel like those moments of like, oh, okay, this is when normal white people would cry in movies.
Normal white people. Yeah, I only experience these kinds of emotions during love movies.
Well, and that's
not in real life.
No,
And,
it's,
like-
that the real life is broken.
no.
But in the movie, it's
just,
like, oh,
just to say, for you people at home, we don't feel. This is a table of people who
Yeah.
do not feel. So if we're saying
Sure.
the movie had some emotion to it and we had some kind of reaction to it, like
That's
it's
saying
a
a
big
lot.
deal.
it
It's a big
is
deal.
saying a lot, because even me, the person who hasn't cried in, I don't know, but like,
I cry.
Right.
I cry.
I'm crying
But, like,
right now.
I just don't cry
That's
at
why I'm
movies.
wearing sunglasses.
But,
I'm
like,
crying right now
it
Tears.
takes a lot in a movie and a lot of emotion
to get that
to
get
to
that out
well
of you.
those
Yeah.
emotions up, to even make me want to believe what's happening in the movie.
Yeah, part of that for me is that I've seen so many movies that it's like I look at the production of it
Right,
and like,
right.
oh, well, this scene wasn't as good,
Yeah, it's like
I
you're
get
paying
technical.
attention to everything in the movie but the story. And then when a movie kind of locks you in to what the story is, then you're kind of like, "Oh, I'm feeling what you're
Yeah.
trying to make me feel."
Just
and
when I
it's
thought I
it's
was
hard
out.
to do.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
pulled me back in.
Exactly. And I wasn't expecting. I was full on ready in this podcast to trash this movie.
But you can't.
He was
You
ready.
can't because it's
And-
true love, Steve. Fuck you.
No, but even I
Get
had
shit
me
on.
thinking in the future, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do when Danielle dies? I'm like, oh fuck. So it's like there's a lot of shit to this movie. Like it's a lot.
Yeah.
And then immediately after that thought, we made up 3 scenarios where murder suicide was definitely on
Was
the
Yeah.
table.
it should have been on the plate.
Well, we're just going to jump right to the end here because Michael walked in while Steve and I were finishing the movie, and the movie ended, and he was like, wait a minute, there's one more scene. So apparently there are versions out there where this final scene is
hold
in the
on.
movie.
Which one did you watch?
The real movie, Steve.
No. Where,
That must have
where
been
did
like
you-
the original
Yeah, where did
release.
you get it? Was
From-
it like the extended cut or
No,
something?
no,
What
it's-
did we
it's
miss?
It's the regular movie.
Right.
I'm sure there was like a half a second on a couple scenes.
Right.
That cut out the last scene, which showed the whole, like it explained the, why else would she say all that stuff about miracles? Can our love, create miracles? Yes, I believe our
Right.
love can do anything it want. Will you go away with me? And then the credits rolled, and I'm like, no, they die together in bed holding hands because their love allowed the miracle of them going away together.
Right.
Now, I didn't see them go to church once, so they're both in hell. but they're together.
No.
They're
They were from the
together.
South. It's fine. They
It's
definitely went to
different.
church.
She was about to marry some guy that owned a cotton factory, and he fixed up a plantation. None of them went to heaven.
Yeah, but no, it is. Oh my god, I'm gonna shoot myself for saying it's really sweet. It's a sweet
Oh,
movie.
It is.
It
is.
And I almost 100% attribute it. I don't give a shit about Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams. It's the old people.
Oh.
It's the old people at the
Yeah.
end of their lives trying to rekindle what they had and what they want their lives to be. And like, it's so hard when you see, older Ryan Gosling being like, when he finally gets her back and then she relapses back into forgetting.
Yep.
And
and he just starts crying.
and he's crying,
man, it
and you're
ruined
just
it.
like, well,
'Cause-
I
'cause
have
the
to be
whole-
fucking soulless
The
to
whole
not feel
movie,
this.
the whole movie, it's happily ever after. We're gonna sit and I'm gonna paint, and we're gonna drink tea on
Yeah.
a porch that wraps around the whole house.
Yeah.
because it's a white house with blue shutters.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Well, and the other fucking thing, is she doesn't remember it.
Yeah.
So it's just like he finally got what he wanted. He was fine on his own. He decided to have his own life, and then she comes back to him out of nowhere, and then he has to deal with losing her.
Then at the end, his whole life,
yeah.
he's been trying to get her back,
Right. It's-
and that's
I
what
mean,
grabs you.
but
they had
also-
that chunk in the middle.
Yeah, from her side of it though, she thinks that he just
She's being
left.
attacked.
She thinks that he just left and didn't even try to reach out. So she is hurting in her own sense where
Right.
she, obviously she moved with her family and it was like, well, what could she do at that point?
Right.
Right.
Like she's 17, which we're not going to talk about. But she was 17 at the time, and her family's
were
like, "You
both
got to move."
teenagers. It was
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, but he worked at a lumberyard.
He had to be at least 18.
He had to be
okay.
18 for,
Not
for
nine-
power saws.
Not in 1940.
Oh, that's true.
How old are you? 7?
But-
Yeah, get to work.
All right, get to work.
To my point, she also, had her own idea of how that ended, and she also was miserable. She wasn't getting the
Right.
letters that he was sending.
Yeah, and the whole reason they broke up is just because he overheard a conversation with her and her parents, even though she was defending him the whole time. Like, no, I love him. I don't give a shit if he's poor. Like,
He's
There-
trash.
Yeah.
Trash.
like there
Said
has
it
to
3
be.
times.
Yeah,
It's
like there.
he's trash.
Well, there has to be something
I'd
to
have left
say
too.
for like
I'd have left too.
the feelings side of it. It's like it's not so much your social status, and the mom shows us that later on where she's like,
I
"Oh,
was
see
wrong.
that guy shoveling rocks into a machine
Yeah.
for some reason."
25
I
years
used to
ago.
that guy.
Yeah, I rode that guy's disco stick all the way to Funky Town, if you know what I'm saying.
Funky Town was about 35 years later.
Oh,
but she was on her way there from the beginning.
Oh,
yeah.
They wrote Funky Town about that encounter.
I like that part where, because her mother saw that picture in the paper had such an effect on her,
Right.
and she even says out loud when she sees it for the, oh boy.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we go. Because she thought she had put that behind her, and then she thought it was going to happen for her daughter like it happened for her.
Right.
Because she does love her husband,
Yeah.
and she cares about him. But the fact that she needed her daughter to know that was kind of like, I want you to make the other choice, but just know that both choices lead to a different kind of fulfillment.
Right.
But
no,
the one
One is
like,
money.
the one is money,
One is happiness.
and it's shitty, and the other guy's got some great dick.
yeah, it's like the one you're going to have to work for, the other, yeah, you're going to have everything
Everything's
taken
easy.
care of, but are you going to feel truly happy?
It's easy but empty, or hard but real.
Right.
And most of the time, I'm really hard.
No, but that was the scene where I was not expecting it. Like I was
Yeah.
expecting the dad to come and see her because he always seemed
He
like,
did. He was on
well,
the porch,
do
"I wanna
you
meet
love
that
him?
boy." Yeah.
Yeah. Like, do you want to be this? Like, is this what you want? Is he a rapist? Like, he's always looking out for the daughter's best interest.
And I think because he knows his wife had to make that same decision,
Right.
he let her
Yeah.
take care of it.
And that's why I wasn't expecting the mom to get there,
Right.
see her naked in a freaking blanket, and be like, "No, come on, we have to talk. I
Yeah.
need to show
Ooh,
you
boy.
what can happen if you settle for money instead of
Yeah.
the passion."
And yeah, they go back to that scene, and they don't even show her breaking it off because like
Doesn't fucking
it,
matter.
it doesn't
Yeah.
even matter.
Doesn't
It's like
matter.
they lived happily ever after, is what older Ryan Gosling is reading in the Notebook.
Right.
And she's like, "Who ended happily ever after?" And that's actually the moment that she remembered, and she
Right.
put everything together.
Everything comes back to her.
Yeah.
It
and-
was us.
Oh, it
was
was so
us.
nice. It was so nice.
It's
And
a
I
great.
hate
I
it.
told you. I
Remembered.
told you.
I
It's a
hate
great,
it.
It's a great story. If only we could experience just a little bit of that in our own lives.
No, and like,
Yeah, there's
Minus
no
the
love in my
plantations.
life. Yeah.
Minus the plantations.
well, because like, all right, so like every fucking movie I've seen where it's like everybody moves on from their relationship, but then when they come back, it always ends in turmoil. It's like, why did you come back after all these years? Like, I was happy, I was
Right.
content, and now I have confusion. This is the one where I was like, no, just, can it end happy? Like, just
Can we
just-
do the
just-
happy stuff,
Yeah,
please?
just please end happy.
And they don't really give you happy.
Yeah,
I mean, I look at it
Right.
as a
It's
happy
it's
thing.
happy. but
Yeah.
we have to still watch their whole life cycle.
yeah.
Or it's like, oh, and then you're like, no, that's what love it the whole time.
I
It's the
will
whole
say
time.
I'm super glad you made you said like you were here for the end of the movie, because if
Yeah.
it ended with this just them like
Yeah, that would
like finally holding
that
hands
pissed
and
me
then the
off,
credits
'cause
roll.
That
Yeah.
changes the whole
Yeah,
movie.
it
It really
really
does.
does.
Like,
because
if-
then you assume like there's something after it.
Right.
Yeah,
But yeah, what are you saying?
I don't know.
But that is
I keep trying to say stuff. I don't know.
cutting off that death scene at the end just leaves the last 8 lines of dialogue just like
They're kind of pointless then.
Right.
No, it doesn't matter. You're like, oh wow, that was a nice story. Oh, she remembered him, and then they lived fine in the nursing home. No. She wanted to go away with him.
Yes.
That night.
Right.
and
They were
went
both
away
ready.
together. They were both ready.
Right.
I did think they were gonna like actually get up and go somewhere and like drive somewhere.
Honestly, that would have been nice too.
Yeah.
Like to see them go on one last like fuck it adventure.
Yeah.
Like she's
I think-
Like, go
truly
stand in the
letting
rain.
Yeah, like she's truly letting go and he's
Well,
truly her wild
I don't think they would have
side.
gotten out of the.
Well, that was
Yeah.
This was
They would
the
have been
fir-
shot.
This was the
Honey, let's go somewhere. They're escaping.
Get them! We can't let them out into society.
they're a danger to the small town of nobody gives a shit.
Sorry, what were you saying?
The ending to that so bad. It's so bad.
The sirens are wailing. Get him!
The that was the first time we'd seen him pursue her,
Yes.
and that's
Yes.
how the movie ends.
Well, I think it just goes back to that because he was pursuing her
In the beginning.
initially.
But
Yeah.
And
he had
then
never-
from then, he always let her come to him.
right.
But yeah, it kind of brought him back
Which
to
is
that
kind of
like
nice
first
because
scene.
I feel like he's the wild side and she's more reserved, so he needs to wait for her to get to his level of like when he says like, I thought you were more free. Like this is kind of what he's trying to get her to
You're
get
deciding what your parents want.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
What
And
do
I
you
think
want?
that's like it goes back to that scene where she was in the bumper cars and having a good
Yes,
time. Like
yes.
he looked at her and he was like,
That one.
I know who you are in this moment where you're just letting go.
Yeah,
And he just wanted her to let go again.
right.
And like be free.
And then they let go together.
Steve's crying now.
This is
They
good.
let go together while holding on to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
No.
I think it's also cool how like, not cool, but it's
I love how they
interesting.
died.
They're dead.
It's
great.
interesting that they show both of their bodies decaying in different ways.
Yep.
For her, it's the mental. For him, it's physical.
right. Like his
'Cause he-
heart is
Because she made
the
him
problem.
build a house.
Well, no, but it's kind of funny that like his heart is the problem. Like he had
Yeah.
two
He
heart
had
attacks
too much
in last.
love.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, he
his
worked it
heart
out.
is. It's like how they always say, "Oh, he died of a broken heart." He's literally
He's
dying of a
literally-
broken heart.
Yeah,
he's-
because-
she's slowly going away.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's going away. He's trying to hang on until she remembers, but his heart is literally telling him, "Dude,
We can't.
we
can't keep
we
doing
can't
this.
sustain this."
He's been
But
doing that the
Yes.
whole time.
yeah,
Like-
their love is like deeper than their love is more everlasting than their bodies are.
Right, and like they almost give the notion that this isn't the first time he's gone through this. Like it's like he wakes up in the for
Every
this
day.
story
Does
and
it
he's
every
like,
day.
today's gonna be a good day, and the
Yep.
nurse is like, well, today's always a good day, and he's like, well, no, today's special. So like you can tell he's been doing this for years, and especially when the kids come and visit and like, dude, you need to come home, like we miss you. Why are you living in a place you don't need to be?
And that all happens in one day. Like that whole.
Oh,
Older
was
The
this all one
the
day?
the whole
Oh,
cycle was
shit.
one day. or
Yeah, so
whatever.
when he says, I feel like this is going to be a good day, she remembers, she forgets, and then she gets locked up because she had an episode.
Right.
And then it's that night, and then he goes to see her
Yep.
that night.
Wow.
Yep,
I didn't
one
know
day.
that was all one day.
she's wearing the same clothes. It was the same attendees, meaning the same shift. Come on, Steve.
Well, I just assumed with a small place like that, it would be the same people working. every-
One thing I said while I was here, the staff at that place, that's big dudes.
I mean, you have to be able to detain
some 6'11" guys.
some crazy
and
people.
that is true. There's a lot of large men that do those kinds of really loving jobs because they can move bodies around.
Right.
That's all you gotta
The
do.
biggest guy I ever met in my whole life was a maintenance guy at a hospital.
Yeah.
And he was a giant. He used to just carry people around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people have a higher calling.
Some people do.
Other
Others
people
are-
work in fast food. You never know what your life is going to
never
give you.
know.
You
And
just got to follow the path, man.
Sometimes you need to save jazz.
But yeah, no, I will say overall, I was genuinely surprised that I liked this movie.
Yes.
I'm also surprised that you
Yes.
said you liked it.
I told
I-
you it was a good story.
I
told
didn't.
you.
And I'll be the first to admit, I went into this thinking I was going to hate it because
you
high
can't.
school Steve was like, no, fuck this, I'm not going to do it.
I'm also that kind of person where if someone's hyping something up, I
Right.
immediately am like, no,
No,
it's
because we
garbage.
literally talked about this last night. She's
Yeah.
like, yeah, no, I just know I'm going to hate it because it's been so
well,
hyped
no,
up.
no, no. I
and,
didn't
like,
say I know I'm gonna hate
Right,
it. I
right.
said that in order for me to like it, it's gonna have to do all these things. Like
Right.
it's gotta captivate me. It's gotta tell a good story and have a message. And it did all those things.
Right.
So.
And it's like I said at the beginning, I was able to piece together what was going to happen, but seeing it unfold
Didn't matter.
made it worth it.
Because it
If that
grabbed a
makes
hold of you,
sense.
Steve.
Yeah.
And changed your life.
Well, it didn't change my life,
Okay.
but
Yes.
it
That
it
yet,
did make me feel
That
for the
remains-
characters, and it made me feel for the
Yep.
story,
and it's
and that's
funny.
hard to do.
But it's so funny because like everybody's like, oh, Nicholas Sparks, a sappy love movie. It's like this was one that was turned into a movie that actually worked.
Yeah,
I
it
was gonna
actually
say
worked.
it's not sappy. It's sweet. You
It's-
know,
yeah.
it's sweet
Because a lot of them are like, oh, he got on a plane, and it's like, no, this guy dedicated his life, and then
right, like
he
it-
built her a house, and then struggled with her dementia, and got her back one last time before they died together.
like
Right.
that's true love when you don't give up on someone,
Yeah.
Yeah.
no matter
And it-
what.
And the movie didn't feel fake. Like most of these love movies that I watch or that I've seen feel fake. Like it feels like so far out of left field. Like
Forced.
nobody
It-
would
it feels
ever.
forced.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Nobody would ever come to this conclusion after what you've been through. But this made sense. Like where it was, she came back into his life after years of him trying to reach her.
He
and-
wrote her a letter a day for a year,
Yeah.
Steve.
365 letters, and she finally gets them when she's older. Like there's only one way that story can conclude. Like she has to go back with him. So the fact that he's trying so hard to remember that she wanted to be a part of his life and be a part of this story, like it's a lot. And like you
look what's happening right now.
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
mad at it. I'm not mad at it.
you buy in. This is
This is why I like these movies.
I'll give you the one. I'll give you this one. If you can throw out another
Yes.
one, we'll do another episode.
Every
But-
film in the book.
Yeah,
Summer of Love.
I was letting Steve go off because
Hey,
Yeah.
go off, Steve.
Go
It's a
off.
good love story.
Let him cook.
No, I mean, shit, man.
If
I got to
it's been a
officiate a wedding, I'm trying to work
Right.
on
yeah.
on love
if,
stuff.
if you haven't seen it in a while, watch it by
Yeah, go
yourself
back.
or with your significant other, and ask yourself, is it love?
get a box of tissues and a bowl of popcorn and watch The Notebook.
yeah,
And forget the popcorn's there, but you will need the tissues.
yeah, you'll need the tissues.
For more reason than one.
Oh,
hey, gets a little spicy.
It's pretty spicy.
Yum, yum, yum.
It gets medium spicy.
It's
little
mid
medium
spicy.
Just enough that when it came out, people were like, whoa.
I'm just glad they didn't
Whoa, I
show
can see
them
her
actually
ribs.
having sex until they were adults. I'll take that.
I saw it when I was not 18, so I was hoping they got it on.
Oh yeah, but I would say it's an all-around recommend.
Yeah, if
The
you haven't seen it
Notebook.
for a while,
Steve, stamp of approval.
I will
everybody.
stamp this one.
Steve
Go
stamp.
watch The Notebook. It wasn't what I thought it was going
and
to be.
to,
Damn.
we're doing summer movies. Might as well do some
It's-
summer love.
It's
Summer
a
love.
summer love
Summer
story
love.
that you can get behind. That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Just get behind it, watch it. You'll probably like it.
No, you'll definitely like it.
It's The Notebook.
You'll
Like
probably
it.
love it.
Now I'm gonna go write in my notebook about my love story about Michael.
Well, we better turn the cameras off before it gets too hot
It's gonna
in here.
get
Actually,
steamy.
let's switch it to 4K.
But yeah,
Zoom in.
join us next time for the last episode of the summer of EFB.
What will it be?
Oh,
You'll
No
never
one
know
knows.
until you.
But it'll probably
Leave
be
your
something.
guesses in the comments.
It'll definitely not be related to summer because that's what we've been doing the whole summer.
definitely not.
Yeah, think of summer maybe in the title.
Mm.
All right, we'll see you then.
Okay,
We'll
bye.
see you then. Bye.
You're gonna need a bigger boat. I lied.
He touched the butt.
The Force will be with you, always. Why is the rum always gone? Go ahead. Make my day.